Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar today, Put a Mobile Workforce in Place with a Secure, Easy to Implement Cloud Document Management Solution. My name is Nicole Schmeida. I'm the Marketing Specialist here at DocuWare, and I'll be moderating today's session. The webinar today will be presented by Caleb Wolf, Senior Sales Director here at DocuWare. As you can see on the right, today's agenda, the first few minutes, Caleb will talk about how DocuWare can help implementing your mobile workforce and review our paper scan and DocuWare mobile applications. He'll jump into a live demo of these applications so you can see them in action, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Thank you again, and now I'll pass it off to Caleb.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole, and thanks everyone for being on the call today. I'm really excited to walk you through a couple of our mobile applications, DocuWare Mobile and PaperScan, and discuss a little bit about the use cases associated with each of those modules. But first, let's talk a little bit about how our lives have changed in the last 40 plus days. So we kind of jumped head first into what we'd consider our new normal. In this time, working from home has become more and more essential, and it's really the primary model of our sustainable business today. Our companies, for the most part, weren't really ready for this transition, nor I don't know how they could have been ready for this transition. So our IT departments are busy trying to get everything in place so that we can work from a remote workforce. But during this time, it's still very critical that we are all, rowing in the same direction. We're able to keep our employees moving. So there's been some questions that have come up, obviously, in the last 30, 40 days. And we're going to review a couple of those, and then we'll step into discussions on mobile and PaperScan. So one of the things we've come up against is, I think we've taken for granted a lot of the ad hoc workflows processes that took place in our organization. So when we're all in the same building or next to another office, it's pretty easy to take a document, go and get it approved or get it signed or have somebody review it. That's becoming obviously more challenging today. How do we ensure the security of our information? So with compliance and the standards, now we're all talking through different channels of communication. How do we make sure that we're still compliant? How do we keep the information from our network file shares and our emails? So email is really designed to be, for one user. We've all kind of got like our email folders on the side, and now we've got emails just bouncing. So we have lots of redundant copies, I guess would be the best way to put that. We have VPNs being stood up, and so now we have all of these remote users accessing the same network through a VPN, and it's just created, a lot of slowness. We had an awesome presentation last week given by Patrick on how do we handle the issues that have arisen from physical mail going to the office where we don't have everybody there? And how do we really know if our teams are working? We have Skype, we have Teams, we can see when somebody's available or on Do Not Disturb, but how do we actually know that the work is getting done? So ultimately, how do we not lose productivity? That's ultimately what we're going to be talking about today. So DocuWare Cloud Document Management and Digital Workflow Made Easy. This is a great overview of the layout of DocuWare, which I will discuss in a little bit more detail. DocuWare Cloud securely stores all of your documents in a central repository, providing access to those documents on a number of different devices. So PaperScan specifically. So PaperScan is a free application. You can download it from the Google Play or the Apple Store. It's important to know that PaperScan does not require a DocuWare license. It's free. It's very commonly used for receipts, but you can digitize any single-page document from letters, packing lists, articles, etc. PaperScan can trigger automatically, which is kind of a neat little feature. When you hold the camera over like a receipt, if you have contrast, it will automatically detect the edges of the receipt and snap the picture for you without you having to actually touch the camera button on your phone. And you can obviously use PaperScan to capture many different types of documents and integrate them into your office workflow. So DocuWare Mobile, this one does come, you do need a license to utilize it, but it provides a lot of the same features that the full browser version of DocuWare has. So you can obviously access DocuWare because it is mobile. You can access it from the browser on your phone, but the app makes it just there's a nice intuitive interface, lets you be more efficient when you're not in front of your computer. Some of the things you can do with the apps, access dashboards of lists and tasks, store documents right from DocuWare Trade. DocuWare, you're going to see a lot of this in the demonstration. And you can place stamps right on the document from your phone. So the connection to the apps is super fast and easy. I'll try to remember to show you that when we step into the actual demonstration. But from your desktop, you can simply scan a QR code. It automatically authenticates and logs you to it puts your username there. All you have to do is input your password and you're connected. So you can use the two applications in tandem. So let's take a look at the software and see some of the capabilities. I'm going to take you through a few different use cases. So obviously we have to talk receipts because that's one of the primary uses of paper scan. But some of the uses that may be a little bit less common is packing slips. So, you may have an organization that sends drivers out to deliver goods, and we need those packing slips back in the accounting department with the signature so that we can actually invoice our customers for that product. Well, today, depending on how you're structured, if you have many branches across many states, that could be more of a nightmare to get all those packing slips back. But even for a company that's in like one city that has a driver that goes out, delivers all his goods for the days, and then we got to get all the packing slips back to a department. There's lots of things that can go wrong. Right? I could lose packing slips. They're sitting in my car. I'm the driver, and I'm putting them in an area, and hopefully, we hope that they all get back. Sometimes we don't get packing slips back for 2 or 3 days. So we're going to show you how somebody who's delivering the goods could scan a packing slip and get it back to headquarters essentially immediately. The last one is workflow task. We are more remote now than we've ever been before. So how can I interact with workflows and fill out a form possibly on my mobile device and really interact with those back at headquarters that need it? So I'm going to go ahead and minimize PowerPoint here for a second. I'm also going to shut off my webcam for this portion of the demonstration, and then I'll turn it back on when we get to the Q&A session. Okay. So for DocuWare, first, to show you paper scan and DocuWare mobile, I have to introduce you to the interface of DocuWare. And one of the biggest things I would say, I tell all of my customers and prospects, one of the huge differentiators I feel for DocuWare is the user friendliness of the platform. We've been in business for over 30 years, and the engineering and everything that's gone behind it's really been driven towards user friendliness. So that leads to high end user adoption rate, which is incredibly important when it comes to implementing any software, right? We want the users to embrace the technology, enjoy the interaction. So to introduce you to it, over here on the right-hand side of the screen, I have what I call my DocuWare viewer. This is where documents are going to appear when I click on them. On the left-hand side, I've got my workspace. Right here where these 3 tabs are, I call that my workspace. Then I have my navigation panel. So as I switch to different tabs up here, my workspace interface changes. So I have my document trays. I have an inbox, a packing list, and a receipts tray. Those are the trays we're going to be interacting with today. Those trays can be shared with multiple users. We could have users that put information in that tray, and then I interact with the documents. We can get information into those trays in a number of different ways. So we can monitor a hot folder on a multifunction device, and DocuWare just monitors the folder. Any document that hits it, we bring it right into a tray. We can drag and drop right from our Windows File Explorer into the tray. Even attachments in an email, we could drag right into this tray. We could have a locally connected scanner right to our PC, and we could use the scan icon there and scan. We can use the import, which will launch my Windows File Explorer, and I can bring documents in. So pretty much any way you can imagine, we can get the documents into this area. The search icon is where I'm actually going to look for information once it's been stored. This is my digital file cabinet, my central repository. This is really where I believe a lot of the power comes into play. You notice if I click the drop-down arrow on document types, I've got a fair number of different document types that are inside this sample account. If I start typing a company name, it's going to pull up all the companies that start with FLY. And I'm going to go ahead and select Flying Tom, and then I'm going to hit my drop-down again for document type. You notice that it automatically filters the results associated with that company. So I'm going to go ahead and say quote. I want to see the quote. I execute the search. I get back the result, and I'm going to double click on the document. It's going to show it over in my viewer. Now, the viewer comes with a lot of power in this little drop down here. So this is my toolbar that gives me access to, and this is all customized based on the interactions that I want as a user or the permissions that have been set by my department. Quickly, I can print right from here. I can email right from here. I can zoom into a specific spot on the document if I'm having a hard time reading it. I have some custom zooms. I have stamps that are right here that I can apply to the document if I need to. I can draw an arrow on the document. There we go. I can do highlighting. I could do some redaction. So a lot of different tools that allow me to interact with this document. I'm not going to store my changes. So the last two things in our navigational panel is list and task. So list allows me, I like to refer to it as bookmarks or favorites. Searches that I conduct frequently, I can save as a list, and any new document that happens to fulfill that search criteria will automatically appear in my list. I can also use list for contracts. If I had a contract, I want a list to populate with all the contracts that are going to expire in the next 3 months. And that's kind of a dynamic list that every day, every new day, the system looks and says, are there any contracts that are within 3 months of expiration? Let's go ahead and populate them on the list. The last one is tasks, and tasks is really where we drive efficiency within an organization. It's what we consider our workflow. We are telling people that they have work to do and somebody is waiting on them to get that work done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize my browser here. I'm going to go ahead and take a second and change my screen to be clean. I know you want to see my lovely family back there, but we'll keep it clean for the presentation. And then I'm going to show my device. So I'm currently running an iPhone. The DocuWare mobile and paper scan are available. I believe it's all three: Android, Apple, iOS, and Windows. So here, the first thing I want to show you is when I click on the DocuWare mobile, you'll notice that it mimics a lot of what you see in the browser side. So when I click on document trays, you'll notice if I go back on the browser to my document trays, I got a replication, right? I got inbox, packing list, and receipts. If I go to searches, so we're going to conduct a search that I just did for you on the browser side. So I'm going to come in and say, hey, I want to search on my mobile device for the company Flying Tom, and I want to search for a document type of quote. Click the little search button, and it's going to pull me back the query results. So this could have 10 documents in it, depending on the query that I was running. When I tap on the document, it's going to show it to me in a little display in my viewer here, and I have the option to scroll down through multiple pages. I can also zoom in and zoom out if I needed to see something a little bit more closer. I have the three little ellipses up in the top right. So when I click those, I get a couple more options here. So stamps, I can interact with the different stamps that you saw also on the browser side viewer. I can share right from here. So if I execute the share, I can share it in its original format. So if this was a Word document that had come in, I can share right from the mobile device, and I can choose at this time, do I want to share it as a Word document, or do I want to convert it to a PDF and share it from there? So that's a little bit of the interface of DocuWare mobile, the mobile application. So I want to show you the paper scan application. So in paper scan, you can see I've got a couple receipts that I've already scanned, and we're going to scan a new one. We're going to scan some packing slips. But inside of here, I can organize. So if I had scanned a bunch of documents, one page at a time, I can select those and simply clip them together. Those documents will come into the system together versus separate. Likewise, if I had stored a bunch of documents all as one document, I could come in here, select the document, and unclip it. How do I store from here? I simply can click this upload button in the bottom right, and it'll say which documents do you want to select. It obviously selected both of them for me, and I say, hey, I want to upload. And then I'm going to hit my little DocuWare button, and it's going to say what tray do you want, because I'm using both modules here, which tray do you want to upload this to? So I'm going to go ahead on the browser side, I'm going to select the receipts tray, and on the device, I'm going to hit the receipts button. Now, when I go to my DocuWare, it is going to upload those two documents to my receipts tray. So we're going to see those kind of both work in tandem. So here you can see I'm inside the receipts tray on the mobile application. Now my receipts tray I've actually set up for intelligent indexing, which I'm sure you'll see in some more of the webinars that we're putting on. But essentially it's DocuWare's ability to learn your documents. So as we store receipts or packing lists or vendor invoices, DocuWare has a capture piece that allows us to memorize, I don't know if memorize is the right word, but learn your documents. So you can see that these two receipts, it automatically pulled in the dollar amount, the customer name, the date, and both of these ones pulled in all the information. So from the mobile device, I'm going to go ahead and select one of those. And I'm going to execute the 3 ellipses on the top. And I'm going to hit my store button. And I'm going to choose the one, these are what we call dialogues. So I'm going to choose the expenses. There's my information. I'm going to click the store button. Now you're going to see that the document is going to leave my tray, and now it's actually stored inside the digital file cabinet. So I can do all of this from my mobile device. So we're going to step back, and I'm going to go to paper scan again, and we're going to scan a new document and kind of do the same process. So I've got a receipt here from Walgreens. I'm going to turn on the camera on my phone. And without even touching the button, because I've got a good contrast here, it detected all of the lines of my receipt. So I'm simply going to hit the up arrow folder thing in the bottom right corner and choose DocuWare again and say, hey, I want this to go to my receipts folder. I'm going to come back to my mobile application and go into my receipts and see that I've got another receipt that is going to come into the browser side, but I don't even need, I have this open obviously for the demonstration to show you the effect, but the real use case here is that I'm out at a restaurant, I just got done eating, I need to scan my receipt and then go, and I don't want to have a wallet full of receipts. So I'm simply going to scan this one, and we'll go ahead and store this one as well. So here's Walgreens, 3 ellipses, store. I'm trying not to go too fast because I know there's a little lag between Air server and my phone, and I click store. Now you'll notice that the list button is actually increasing as well. So I just wanted to show you kind of how lists can work. So inside of my list, I can have, I have it set up for unprocessed receipts. So this could be something that's populating on some other user's computer. And as these receipts come in, and this could be a list that's specific for Caleb's receipts. So as those come in, I could be a different user interacting with this document. And I'm going to come in and say, you know what, I reviewed the receipt. The categorization is correct. The dollar amount's correct. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp it approved. So you'll notice that DocuWare is going to put a stamp on the document. And it did a pretty good job of putting it in an area that doesn't cover too much text. Just to show you the effect, I'm going to go ahead and click on other parts of my receipt, and you'll notice that it moves that receipt around. So the iOS Android experience here is a little bit different. I believe on Android you can actually drag that stamp and put it wherever you want, whereas on the iPhone you're tapping on the screen where you'd like it to be applied. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Done button, and you'll notice that since this other user looked at my receipt and they stamped it approved, that it's actually going to reduce my unprocessed documents. I've only got 1 document there instead of the 2. Yeah. So the packing slips. Let's step into packing slips. So I got my packing slip tray here. Now you can configure this the exact same way I just did receipts, or you could simply have a tray that you're like, hey drivers, we want you to put this stuff in the tray. So I'm going to go back to my packing slip, and we're going to scan one of our packing slips. Now I've found, you know, depending on the format of your packing slip, it's better to take it in portrait mode, letter mode. And this one obviously captured the edges of the desk. So I'm going to go ahead and do some cropping. So this is Paperscan's awesome cropping ability. I can go really fast and just grab the edges and click done. And there's my document. I find it better here if we just rotate it and then we upload it to DocuWare. So I'm going to click the same thing we just did, but I'm going to choose packing list instead of receipts. So I could do the same thing, you know, if I wanted to, so depending on the driver's behavior, maybe I want to do every single packing slip as it's been dropped off, or maybe I collect a bunch during the day. So I'm going to go ahead and do another search, and we're gonna put two of them together. And for sake of time, you know, I could have done a bunch more, but I'm going to bring those down. I do want to show you that these little corners really allows you to navigate right to the very edge, like if you're trying to get really specific. So I'm going to go ahead and click done, and then I'm going to use my thumb and slide the document to the right, which is going to engage my camera to do the next document. And by doing this, it's going to put those two documents together. So I'm going to click done. I'm going to go back. I'm going to upload DocuWare packing list. I'm going to go back to DocuWare, go to my packing list tray. You can see that I've got a couple documents coming in. And if I go here and refresh, we should see those documents coming to here. So this could be a tray just back at HQ that is throughout the day is getting filled with all the packing slips immediately after they're being delivered. Or if I have a driver that likes to wait till the end of the day, maybe at the end of the day, I get a lot of those documents in. So that's the packing list. The last part I want to show is kind of the workflow. So what I have set up here is on my other screen, I'm actually going to pretend to be another user. I'm the HR manager or something, and I'm going to store a document. And when I store that document, it's going to kick off a workflow. I'll go ahead and click the store now. And when the workflow gets kicked off, it's going to send me an email notification that says, hey, there's a form that we need you to fill out as part of the onboarding process. But you can also see that on the mobile application, there's a task there, and there's a badge icon. So it's going to be extremely difficult for me to miss a task that's been assigned to me, right? And this is all about driving behavior and productivity. If I go to my email, oh, I wanted to show you guys this one too. I'm gonna pause. We're gonna go back to that other email, but I want to show you even from a receipt that is in an email. So if I click here in my email, and I've got this receipt for Hampton Inn down here, if I tap on it, I can click the little up arrow and hit DocuWare and do the exact same thing we just did from Paperscan, but I don't have to use Paperscan, right? So even receipts that were emailed to me that aren't in paper form, I can just interact with my native device and store those right into DocuWare. So let's go back to our workflow. So if I go back to here, I've got an email that said, hey, Caleb, you have a new task in DocuWare. Please submit the below DocuWare form. So I'm going to go ahead and click the form. And we're going to open the form right up on our mobile device. Once again, we're talking efficiency. And before I go ahead and fill out the form, I want to do a search. And I'm going to show you, we're going to do a search for employees. And we're going to do an employee name of John Smith. Smith John. Should only be one document in here. I believe it's the resume that I stored, which doesn't have the name John Smith on it. But for sample purposes, I've got this document in here, resume John Smith. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the person's name that I'm hiring. And this is a form that, you know, part of the onboarding process, IT needs some information about this person so that they know how to set them up. So I'm going to say operating system, we want it to be English. Keyboard layout, we want it to be English. Do we need a computer form? Yes. And what kind of items do we want? Let's give them a headset and the accounts that they need access to. So our CRM, Power BI, VMware, GoToMeeting. Do they need a smartphone? If they did, I could give them a little list here. Sorry, I forgot. I'm going kind of fast here. I have a little list here, so I could have a list of different devices that we can assign out. I'm going to choose the iPhone, and then I'm going to go ahead and click the submit button. After the form submitted, I will get a little, you want to submit another form notification along with a link. If I'm a user in the system, I could access the document right from the URL. But really what I need to do is let IT know that, hey, I've done my job and I've submitted the form. First, I'm going to do a little refresh down here, and you're going to see that I have another document in here. And if I click that document, bring this over a little bit for you, you'll see that here's the form that I just filled out. So the database is automatically getting linking, Smith John together, my employee's name together. And as we go through the onboarding process, all the documents will be added. Well, if I was out and about and they really needed me to do something, if I have my mobile device on me, I can still take care of all the things that I need to get done. So let's go back to DocuWare. I'm going to go to that task on my mobile device, employee onboarding, and I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to complete this. I've completed it, and doing the exact same thing that we did before, just like we were sharing. The decisions are going to be in the top right corner. So if I click those three ellipses, and then I choose decisions, I could have a lot of different options here. It depends on what was built into the workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and say completed. I completed the form, and I'm going to hit confirm. And you're going to notice on my mobile device, the task is going to disappear. On my browser, the task is going to disappear, and the document is now onto the next process, whatever that process may be in the workflow. So I really hope that gives you a good idea of DocuWare Mobile and DocuWare Paper Scan. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn back on my webcam, and we're going to finish off the presentation. Let's go bring that back up. Back on. There we go. So really, what's the bottom line? It's really that technology and the powerful tools provided by DocuWare are able to really maximize your productivity for employees working from home. Now, this isn't just, at this time, I feel like it means more than ever, but this isn't just in this environment, right? This is the same technology and the same automation that's been available for years. We're able to scale and meet the demand. With the cloud architecture, you lift the burden for the IT departments of maintaining, expensive architecture, and we ultimately keep the team rowing in the same direction. That's really what we're striving for. So Nucleus Research, they put it very well when they said the key value drivers for these solutions are increased user productivity and cost savings from redeployed staff. Content management returns $8.55 per dollar spent. That could yield a very quick return on investment. The IDC provides some more important reasons for considering process automation. Depending on the defective process that may be present in our organization, there may be significant ramifications from compliance mistakes or lost customers. By the numbers, currently over 14,000 customers around the world, more than 500,000 satisfied users. DocuWare is one of the leading international providers of document management solutions. Currently available in over 16 languages, and as you can see there, in over 90 countries. So here's a case study. It's going to be included with you'll get a copy of it. But here, he says that field superintendents were given mobile access to documents, and that the time spent on cost approvals reduced from 4 hours and 30 minutes per week. So pretty impressive stat. Don't miss any of our upcoming webinars. This is number 2 of the 7, I believe, in our 7-part series. There's sure to be a lot more valuable information that you're not going to want to miss. And with that, I will turn it back over to Nicole.
All right, thanks, Caleb. Thanks for that demo. So we'll open it up for questions now. I saw some questions were coming in during the webinar, so we'll definitely get to those. You can see on your screen here, the next action steps. What you saw today was introductory of our DocuWare Cloud and mobile applications. But of course, if you want to see more in-depth features personalized to your customized needs, we can definitely do that. You can request a demo, email us anytime with any questions or thoughts at contact.us@docuware.com, or you can reach out to your authorized DocuWare partner. The recording and slides and all the case studies and ebooks will be emailed to you as soon as possible in case you need to jump off the line now. So just want to let everyone know that again. So for the first question, they asked, when you were showing the DocuWare Cloud features, will there be similar features for the on-premises version?
Yeah, it'll almost look, I think it will look the exact same. So for our on-premise or our cloud, the mobile application and the paper scan app will look identical. And that interface that you saw, I'm actually showing you, this was a live cloud account, but the on-premise system looks virtually identical.
Great. And actually in the DocuWare Cloud desktop version, someone had a question in the toolbar. There are icons labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do those exactly do?
So those are all the toolbar. I have a lot that are turned on that maybe you won't have turned on, but those all reference the different annotations. So as I was drawing the arrow and I put the highlight on the document, you can turn those annotations on or off because they're just a layer. There is a feature that, depending on rights, you can merge layers together. But if those layers are not merged, then that's what gives you the ability to send a document without annotation. So those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those were the different annotations that I applied to the document, or they would interact with the different annotations that I put on the document.
Okay, got it. Someone is asking about the date stamp. So the date stamp you use has month, date, year. Can you instead configure it to be date, month, year?
Yes. You're talking to the sales guy, so technical can correct me if I'm a little bit wrong here. There is a date setting on the system that you put in your preferred format. And so whatever that format is, that would be the default date that would be applied.
Great. Next question is, so is a good application of paper scan delivery tickets that can be sent to an accounting person working from home so invoices can still be sent out properly? Is DocuWare Mobile better for this, or does it not matter which one you use?
So paper scan is the application we're using to scan the actual document. Based on your question, I hope I didn't confuse you in the demonstration. So there's two applications. There's paper scan and there's DocuWare Mobile. Paper scan is the scanning of the documents. You would want to use that to scan the documents. The DocuWare Mobile gives you the ability to take those documents and send them straight through to the document tray of the accounting person. So DocuWare Mobile itself doesn't take the picture. Hopefully that makes sense.
Got it. Next question. When you did the search on your mobile device, did it pick up or provide you a select list? Example, a list that starts with fly like you did in the full application.
Yeah, so that wasn't a select list. That was a text box. And in the browser version, this is a key differentiator. That's a very good point. In the browser version, in the text box, as I start to type, it pre-fills with values that match that search criteria. It wasn't a select list. It was just dynamically pre-filling it. So in the browser version, when I start typing FL, it does not do that same sort of query and pull up the list of results that start with FL. So I would have to put in the name. A quick way around that, though, is we do have wildcard searches. So if you get really good on your mobile device, like if I was to do that same thing, I probably would have done FL and then put an asterisk. So rather than having to type out the entire company name, if I know I've only got 3 or 4 companies that start with FL, then I'm just going to do FL asterisk, and that's going to pull me back all of the companies that start with FL.
Got it. Let's see. Someone is asking, is there a difference when you capture a document using paper scan versus a desktop scanner in terms of the quality of capturing the document?
Yeah, sure. There's naturally going to be a difference there. With your scanner, you have a lot more capabilities in terms of quality, DPI settings, blank page removal. There's a lot of different features that come. So this is literally, we're taking a picture, we're converting it to a PDF, and we're sending it onto DocuWare. So there is going to be differences, and based on how well your person pays attention to cropping the document, all that comes into play.
Great. All right, looks like we do have a few more questions. Again, anyone on the line, we will be sending out the recording and slides to you in case you need to jump off. And again, if you don't have any questions right now, but later you want to contact us, you see the email on the screen, contact.us@docuware.com. Let's see. Next question. If packing lists are printed with a barcode, can a driver send a signed packing list with paper scan, which will then go to a hot folder and into a company's ERP?
So not to a hot folder, but DocuWare would have the ability to read. I don't know if we can read the barcode at that time. Great question. So paper scan, obviously, it's using the native iOS for the upload settings, right? So in every example you saw me click, I was uploading it to DocuWare, but I had a lot of other options, right? Copy to Dropbox, Google Drive. That's why paper scan's a free app. You could go use that today. So unless you had the ability to upload it to a hot folder from your phone, I haven't seen that. So maybe the more technical guys would say, yeah, you could do that. Then that would be a no. I'm not positive if you could send that to an email address and then we could bring it in from the email and read the barcode and already have all the indexing done for you. Packing slips is kind of one that is kind of like invoices and stuff. So you could use intelligent indexing with just like you saw on the receipts. That's primarily how we would do it. We would take it, scan it to an intelligent indexing tray so that would be indexed. Obviously, barcode is going to be optimal in terms of having all the information spelled out for us. So I would say shoot us an email on a follow-up on that, and I'll get a more technical answer for you.
Yeah,
Great.
definitely. You can email us at contact.us@docuware.com and we'll point you in the right direction. Let's see. Let's do a few more questions and we'll wrap it up. First question is, can this be integrated with other accounting software?
Yeah, so the paper scan and the mobile wouldn't necessarily, but the workflow of DocuWare at the end absolutely could, right? So that's taking you all the way from the beginning to the end on a payables process. But there's a lot more that goes into that, right? Capturing the GL coding along the way and appropriating the right cost. But we do that all the time. At the end of the AP process, we can take that information and export it to a CSV or ingestion into like an accounting package.
All right, yeah, and let's just do one more question. We have two attendees kind of asking a similar question about if we have a current use case on how DocuWare could be used in a school district or a K through 12 setting. I know we do have a case study library. I can follow up with you too after this. I don't know if Caleb, if you have any thoughts on it being used in K through 12 settings or other schools.
Yeah, I would want to hear what obviously the use case was, but I would say on our DocuWare website, there is a case study. I don't know if we have any case studies on there that were specifically published, but if you are interested in that, I'm happy to send out an email to the team. I would say shoot us an email for sure, saying, hey, I asked this question. Could you please give me an answer? And I can email the team across the nation and say, hey, what are the use cases? What have we ran up against with K through 12? And the application for mobile and paper scan.
Yeah,
I would
we
say
do have.
DocuWare as a whole, great application. I'm thinking paper scan and mobile, exactly what would be the use case. So we can definitely follow up with
Yeah. All right. All right, everyone. So with that, we'll wrap it up. Again, on the screen, you can see the various ways you can reach out to us, and we'll reach out to you with the recording and slides. And thank you again for joining us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.
you. Thanks. We'll see you.
Thanks.